America's ocean, incomparable cradle of life. The ocean gives us food and fuel, wealth and health, places to play, places to work. But our demands of the ocean are expanding at an unprecedented rate. Today, we need our ocean more than ever, and never has the ocean more needed our help in return. In 2010, the United States adopted its first ever national ocean policy, a policy that now calls for bringing together people from across the societal spectrum to carry out a new, far-sighted strategy for sustaining the country's ocean, coasts, and Great Lakes. It is founded on a branch of conservation, more formally known as ecosystem-based management, more simply, as a common-sense approach to preserving life. It is backed by science and based on the needs of the human community in balance with that of its ecological provider, the sea. "20 years ago, a fisherman of the Florida Keys named Billy Causey took what would amount to the leap of a lifetime. Causey went from earning his living catching fish to protecting those same fish as the first manager of the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. The response from Causey's own community has come to symbolize the rough waters of marine conservation in a world of competing uses.
Billy was in this hemisphere probably hated to with the locals as much as Castro was to the Miami Latins. And at that time there was a lot of public angst. I mean, everybody saw it as a restriction of their rights and liberties to go out and fish whatever they wanted to, whenever they wanted to, wherever they wanted to. And you start taking away somebody's rights and liberties, there's going to be a moment of truth for everybody.
The process got so contentious in 1992 that I was hung in effigy. And I don't really like to talk about that because it was a tough day for me.
So I was part of the crowd with the rope and the crosses at first outside of Billy Causey's window when they hung him in effigy.
Causey forged ahead, forming the nation's first Sanctuary Advisory Council, bringing in representatives of all that had a stake in the health of the Keys.
Where you're coming from, and I totally
sensitive marine areas. That seems to cover a lot of the concerns.
Bringing people together to talk about a problem is step one. I can only speak from my experiences here and how it was done here, and it was done right. Everybody's involved, and everybody gets to hear what everybody has to say.
At a minimum, work to get...
It works out fine for us. I don't know any charter boat fishermen here that would say that the sanctuary preservation areas have hurt their business. I don't know anybody that would say that.
This is a large project. We authorize it.
Was I right? Was I wrong? Anybody who doesn't revisit a decision that you have a question about makes a big mistake in life. So I revisited that decision and said, well, maybe it was the right thing because I'm still catching fish here. I'm not fishing there, but I'm still catching fish there. So what did it really take away from it? So is it really hurting me? No. And if it does some good, so much the better. And then when you see that it does some good, they said, hey, maybe we should close some other areas.
Protecting both their businesses and the ecosystem, in 2001, the Sanctuary Advisory Council established the No-Take Tortugas Ecological Reserve. At that time, the largest fully protected marine area in the country. To witness firsthand what it was they were hoping to save, a group of Iowa farmers, led by Secretary of Agriculture Bill Northey, boarded a southbound bus and followed their Mississippi River downstream to its meeting with the Gulf of Mexico.
I've been doing this for 20 years. I don't think I've had Iowa farmers on a boat. I've had just about everybody else, from rock stars to country music singers to Oklahoma tourists, but no Iowa farmers.
Taking the bait, but not taking the hook.
I guess I didn't realize the value of it as far as the fishing industry and that sort of thing, how important it is.
Good fish.
I'm basically a fish out of water down here, aren't I? Interesting experience.
People throughout this country understand that we need to work together to solve problems that extend well beyond the boundaries of our state. Basically try to move from a system of state-by-state governance of the Gulf of Mexico to one on a more regional basis. And we've extended that partnership up into the watershed of the Mississippi River. We're talking about not just doing things differently when you get on your tractor or in your pickup truck in Iowa. We're talking about thinking about things differently.
Right now we're developing what's called nutrient reduction wetlands. Those wetlands reduce the amount of nitrogen in that water. As that water leaves, it has 40 to 70% less nitrogen than it did as it came in.
I've always thought that we got to do everything we can do to try to keep everything rolling and working, even if it's down in New Orleans. If it's our fault, we want to fix it.
So that's what really kind of started me down this road. I wanted to have some voice in our future here, instead of letting, other people tell us what our future is going to be. We wanted to be part of it.
We needed to be proactive to manage our fisheries rather than respond to crises and be, victim over and over and over.
So being at the table, a legitimate partner, and raising our concerns, and that's where the stewardship area comes in. We as partners have got to go up through that political ladder and get it done.
The Port Orford team didn't wait for the government to impose more regulations. They imposed their own. They designated their traditional fishing grounds as the Port Orford Community Stewardship Area, encompassing some 1,300 square miles of state and federal waters, as well as the upland watersheds that feed into them. Here, Port nurtures collaboration for conservation and resource management.
We see clearly that jobs can go with conservation, that we can continue to fish, let's extract fish from the ocean and do it right and have a conservation ethic around how we fish and still have our jobs and have our income for our families.